And welcome back to the Flow Sports Fix on this Wednesday evening. Got the Flow Man's having a look at his local football. He loves his local football, and we're going to start in SA.
Let's start on the Eyre Peninsula, and we go to Great Flinders. United Yalana 16-9-105 beat Ramblers 6-6-42. In recent years, it seems like United Yalana have had the wood over the Ramblers and beating them here comfortably by more than 10 goals. In other matches, it was another winning feeling for Elliston Districts. They got home 12-14-86 to Eyre United 3-3-21, and it's their second win in a row for the new-coming club into Great Flinders, and they'd be pleased with the efforts of Rosalia and King O'Loughlin both booting 3, and T. Lee, M. Williams and R. Bascom the better players on the day. Finally, Lock 16-8-104. What some are saying a good upset win over Tumby Bay 6-5-41. It was a 10-goal win by Lock there, and they'd be pretty impressed with that. The Tumby Bay Blues struggling in that match. We'll see how they go this week. Moving across now to the Western Eyre competition, and Western United 12-14-86 beat the Blues Footy Club 9-11-65, and I reckon the Blues would be pretty happy. They've come out and played a reasonable game there. Unfortunately, the Tigers still got home and won. Elliott with 4 for the winners, and Harley Chandler having a stellar season for his Tiger Club. Elphick with 3 for the Blues, and Andrasak Smith was their best player. In other matches, it was Thevenard 7-11-53. It was a close one over Canibba 6-14-50. Went right down to the wire, and these two clubs really battling it out. Neither of them want to be on the bottom of the ladder, and it was Grills with 5 of his club's 7 goals and having a good start to the season. E. Thompson the best player. Miller with 4 of his club's 6 goals, and he was their best player on the day. And finally, the West Coast Hawks 23-12-150. Too good for Wirrala 5-3-33 in the battle of the old Midwest clubs, and in this case the West Coast Hawks too good. Mark Dolling booted another 8 goals, and Cody Colbung 7. They've been the leading scorers through the year, and Dylan Kelch was the best player for the winners, and it was M. Gum and A. Kelch the good players for Wirrala in that match. We now head over to the Eyre Peninsula again, and this time it's the Eastern Eyre, and it was Eastern Rangers 7-14-56 beating Kimber 3-4-22, and is that a changing of the guard? These two sides have been battling it out for premiership glory in this part of the Eyre Peninsula over the last 10 years, and I tell you, this is a big win by the Rangers in this match. The other match, it was the boys from Port 6-10-46, too good for Central Eyre United 4-8-32. It was a low-scoring game too in that encounter. Masters 3 for Ports, and Ray Kiwasa, the well-travelled Ray Kiwasa, he's played across the state in a lot of clubs. He's playing for Ports this year. He was their best player. It was Clint Winter with a couple of goals, the veteran for Central Eyre, and Seawaters, H. Heath, T. Jackson and B. Waters were the better players in that match. Let's head now to the northern areas, and in a great win by Crystal Brook, 13-9-87 over Southern Flinders, 10-12-72. The old arch rivals, these two. The Brook taking on what was the Gladstone combined of yesteryear. Now Southern Flinders, a good win by the Roosters. Orroroo 13-14-92 beat Bullaroo Melrose Wilmington 3-8-26. And finally, what about this scoreline? Broughton Mundura 32 goals, 18, 210. Too good for Jamestown Peterborough. 1 goal, 3-9. But I guess if you're at Jamestown Peterborough, you would be celebrating Clark, who was their best player and their only goal scorer. On the other side, Will Hewitt with 10 goals, and his brother Dylan booted 5. Those two Hewitts have a brother who's also playing at the Sydney Swans, so some talent in that family. Hewitt and Gordon and Freer, the better players, Clark and Hall for Jamestown Peterborough. And as we've just got one score in for Far North on the weekend, a low-scoring match. It was Olympic Dam beating Roxby Districts 5-6 to no score. Not sure if that is the correct score. Don't even have one for Hornridge and East Roxby in Far North.
Thank you, Flo Man. We're going from SA now across the border into Victoria and southern New South Wales.
To start us off, I'm going to head to some Golden Rivers football, and it's been a particularly interesting start to this season in Golden Rivers. We've seen the Ngullawool club start very well, 5 wins from 5 outings, and they're pretty pleased with their start, as Mullameen too, who have started particularly well this season. So we're heading into the round 5 matches from last weekend and having a look at the winners there. And And as we said, Nullarbor 19-19, 133. Too good for Murrabit 5-3-33. Oberdorfer, his regulation 6 goals. Farmer, his regulation 4. Those two have starred this year for the Maroons. And Quambatook 9-10-64. Couldn't manage it with Mullameen, who remain undefeated at 13-9-87. Was a particularly good win there by Mullameen at home. Quambatook have recruited well and are the big improvers, but they also had to come up against the Swans, who are looking pretty good this season, and they haven't lost a match. Hay 15-12, 102, beat Ultima 6-3-39. Gee, it'd be a long time since Ultima got done by Hay by any sort of margin like that out at the Lions home ground. A nice game for them. And finally, it was a pretty good performance by Wandella, 20 goals, 8, beating McCorner, 11 goals, 4 in what was a 58-point margin to the Bombers. And looking at the table, the two undefeated clubs at the top of the table, 5 and Zip, are the boys from Nullarbor and the Swannies from Mullameen. Can't wait till those two play each other. They have been the two form sides of this competition. Unfortunately, at the bottom of the table, Ultima yet to open their account from 5 outings. Let's head over to New South Wales now and the Farrer Football League with the win from Marra Bombers, 14-3-87. They were too good for the East Wagga Coringal Hawks, 8-8-56. Sadly, earlier in the day in the reserves match from the East Warringal Hawks, it was Christopher Twaits who in that game was injured with a spinal injury, and a GoFundMe page has been set up for him. It was tragically his last game for the Hawks before heading home to New Zealand, so we wish him all the best, and for those looking to help out, you can go to the Facebook page set up by the East Warringal Hawks in that particular competition. Other games, it was the Northern Jets 11-7-73. Too good for the North Wagga Saints, 5-13-43, a 30-point margin there in favour of the boys from Mariah Park. And the Barellan took on Temora, the two bottom sides, and the two Blues, 14-12-96, beat the Temora Kangaroos 4-11-35. And that's good for the Barellan boys to get their first win of the season in senior footy. And finally, it was the Rock Yarron Creek, 11-10-76, too good for Charles Sturt University, 7-11-53 in the final match. Just a quick check on some of the better players and goal scorers there, with Kerrin booting 4. He's been pretty good this season, multiple goal scorer regularly for the Rock. And also, it was Bud and Hancock and Cool who played a pretty cool game for them on the day. Dickens 3 from the Charles Sturt University. Let's now go finally in our sports fix today. We take a look at the football played across in the Riverina, and in a low scoring match it was Colin Gully 3-9-27 able to overcome the Turvey Park Bulldogs in a seniors match of football, 3-7-25. An incredible scoreline at this time of the year too, but low scoring football. It was 2-0 in the first quarter. Colin Gully led it, 2-1 in the second, then 3 goals apiece at the 3-quarter time bell. And in the last quarter, they added 2 points, Colin Gully, and it was 2 points added by Turvey Park. Neither of them were able to kick a goal, but in the end, the Colin Gully D's got home. Perryman with 2 of those 3 goals. He's the brother of the Perryman playing at the Giants. And Klemke and Johnson Gardner, the better players for the D's, while Turvey Park had Hagar as their better player on the day. And after the wonderful victory the week before for the Narrandera Eagles, they were no match in the end for the Leeton Whitten Crows, who won 7-12-54 to Narrandera Eagles 4-10-34. Another low-scoring match in Riverina football. It was Leeton Whitten who got out to an early lead and were never headed in the end, with Rainbird booting 3 and Drybur and Boots their better players, while Mackay booted 2 for the Narrandera Eagles, and Hutchison and Inglis and Durnan were okay. That win the week before, they weren't able to follow it up with a back-to-back win, the Eagles, who are at the moment at the bottom of this ladder. And finally, in the match of the round, the GGGM Lions went down to the MCUE Goannas. Mangalapar 14-7-91 over Ganmain 6-6-42. Meanwhile, the Wagga Tigers lost to the Coolaman Rovers in a beauty, 7-6-48 to 6-5-41, continuing the low-scoring nature of round 5 matches in and Riverina.
Thank you, Flowman, and you can catch the Flowman on the morning show tomorrow morning between 9 and midday. And, of course, you'll be back with the Statman on Friday with the Flow Sports Show from 4 to 7 p.m. And the Statman, he'll be coming your way not too far. He is. He's getting all primed and ready to talk about local netball across Victoria, New South Wales and SA as well. That's coming up next.